Getting diagnosed with ADHD and autism as an adult can be life-changing. Therapist Sarah Lupardis, who specializes in ADHD and autism, says it's not about fixing people. It's about finding what works.
Let's do it with purpose and intention and say, I'm going to put the laundry in the dryer, and then I'm going to purposely sit down for the 45 minutes that the dryer's on and scroll TikTok, and then when the dryer buzzer goes off, I'm going to go get my laundry.
Watch our social media series on getting diagnosed with ADHD and autism as an adult on our Instagram and YouTube channels.
Happy Friday, it's the Connector Idaho Daily News from Boise State Public Radio News. I'm Troy Oppie in for George Prentice. This morning, what to expect for your holiday travel and what to expect on the roads when you get back and the summer construction season starts. Plus, Idaho's largest healthcare system says it will not be flying the pride flag during Pride Month. And an Idaho pathologist accused of spreading COVID misinformation will keep his license in this state and Washington, but with stipulations. Those stories and more coming up right now on The Connector. We'll start this morning with Idaho's largest healthcare system, St. Luke's, which has made the decision to stop flying the pride flag at its medical centers during June, Pride Month. Here's Julie Lucchetta with more.
The hospital started displaying the flags for Pride Month in June 2022 to raise awareness of health disparities among marginalized groups, including the LGBTQ+ community. Earlier this week, in an internal memo released by the Idaho Family Policy Center, a conservative Christian lobbying group, St. Luke's told its staff it would not put the flags up this year. The hospital said recent efforts to display the banners had, quote, become increasingly contentious and diverted focus towards public debates. Earlier this month, the city of Boise drew national attention for adopting the pride flag as one of its official city flags, pushing back against state law. In an email to Boise State Public Radio, a representative for St. Luke's said the decision to change their policy was difficult and, quote, likely disappointing for many. They added they were exploring alternative displays. The Idaho Family Policy Center said the change was a major victory. Sharing a link to send a standardized message to the hospital, the organization also called upon the public to demand St. Luke's stop sponsoring pride events as well. Julie Lucchetta, Boise State Public Radio News.
Ryan Cole, the Garden City pathologist and Central District Health Board member whose medical license was challenged over allegations he spread misinformation about COVID-19, has reached an agreement with the state of Idaho's medical board. The Idaho Capital Sun reports Cole's license was also challenged in Washington state. Washington's Board of Medicine allowed him to continue to practice there, but with stipulations. He must complete medical education courses and write a personal essay on honesty in medicine. The Idaho Board of Medicine, meanwhile, dismissed a complaint previously against Cole, but in a new order published this week, demanded that Cole abide by the stipulations set by the state of Washington and report to Idaho on his compliance with those stipulations. The agreement does end any further proceedings from the state of Idaho. Cole has called the challenges politically motivated attacks, and he appealed the Washington Medical Board's decision. But the Capital Sun reports his agreement with Idaho acknowledges there was enough evidence for Idaho to proceed with possible disciplinary action. Now on to the holiday weekend. Millions are getting ready to hit the road today. Julie Lucchetta now has more on what Idahoans can expect for the long weekend.
At $3.32 a gallon, gas prices in Idaho are almost 50 cents lower than they were this time last year. AAA's Matthew Condi says this is the cheapest it's been since 2021, which might offset travelers' other rising costs.
Hotel stays are up about 8%. And cruises are up about 2%. Now, domestic rental cars are probably one area where people may save a little. On average, that booking will be about 8% cheaper than a year ago.
Condi says about 45 million Americans will be traveling for the holiday, or 1 million more than last year.
That's a new record, including 274,000 Idahoans. And really, if you can avoid afternoon travel at all, that's the best route.
He recommends travelers avoid leaving during regular commuting hours and says AAA expects to provide roadside assistance to about 700 Idahoans over the weekend.
Check your battery, your engine, and your tires before you go on one of these longer trips. those are some of the common culprits.
Condi says popular destinations for Idahoans are Las Vegas, Seattle, and Anaheim to visit Disneyland. Julie Duqueta, Boise State Public Radio News.
And thanks to Julie for pulling double duty ahead of this holiday weekend with 2 stories on your Friday morning. As folks get back from their holiday travel, it will be chip seal season. Projects on local roads begin next week. The Ada County Highway District says it will chip seal Zone 6 this summer. That's about the northwest corner of the county. It includes much of Eagle and Star, roughly north of Chinden Boulevard and west of Highway 55. In Nampa, chip sealing begins June 2nd. They are working south of the railroad tracks this summer, involving mostly areas between Amity and Locust Lane and Power Line east to Happy Valley Road. Also starting next week after the holiday, resurfacing of 5 miles of Highway 95 in and around the town of Cambridge. Voter turnout in this week's consolidated election was 13% statewide. The Secretary of State's office says that's pretty typical for a hyper-local May election. Even outpaced the state's 2 largest counties. Turnout in Ada County was just shy of 8% of registered voters. It was 10.6% of voters in Canyon County. Results, by the way, are still unofficial until canvassed next week. School bond defeats in those elections were disheartening, those district leaders say. Middleton's failed bond would have funded a new elementary school to relieve overcrowding. Idaho Ed News reports the district felt good about its reduced ask, $40 million less than the last time it tried to pass a bond 3 years ago. Middleton Superintendent Mark Gee told Ed News the district would likely redraw school boundaries to balance elementary school attendance, but even that would result in overcrowding at every school. Another attempt at that bond would not surprise him. In Filer, the district is headed back to the drawing board after a $52 million bond failed with just 22% support. Voters were being asked to pay for a new middle school, high school expansion, and a new career technical center. Filer Superintendent Kelly Schroeder told Ed News that the voters, quote, were obviously trying to tell us something. There's been little to no warning for many of the fast-moving destructive wildfires in recent years. As the Mountain West News Bureau's Murphy Woodhouse reports, federal officials have new recommendations for how communities can prepare for such disasters.
In 2018, the Camp Fire burned Paradise, California to the ground and killed 85 people. Many were trapped by the inferno before evacuation orders were even issued.
It exemplifies a couple of things. One is the new norm in terms of intensity and speed of fire progression that we're seeing.
That's Alex Marangidis, co-author of a new report from the National Institute of Standards and Technology intended to help communities save lives amid fast-moving blazes. One of the core messages of the report, he says, is the importance of preparing before disasters and including the public in that preparation.
You cannot make the plan during the event.
One of the key recommendations is to establish temporary fire refuge areas, pre-designated and clearly labeled sites that make survival more likely when evacuation becomes infeasible. That could be an empty parking lot or a golf course and other open space. Doing evacuation drills with communities is also important. For the Mountain West News Bureau, I'm Murphy Woodhouse.
In sports, the Boise Hawks start this holiday weekend still searching for the first win of the young season. The Hawks are 0-3 so far, with 3 games remaining in the opening homestand through Sunday with the Idaho Falls Chuckers. Those games, of course, in Memorial Stadium next to the Ada County Fairgrounds. And that's The Connector from Boise State Public Radio on this Friday, May 23rd. I'm Troy Oppie. Our news director is Sasha Woodruff. Our digital strategy manager is Lacey Daly. Our general manager is Tom Michael. Hope you have a wonderful holiday weekend. The weather is great. Get outside and enjoy it as best you can. We'll catch you back here for another episode of The Connector on Tuesday morning, May 27th.